Dude, I saw something that was I saw a TikTok that I want to show you guys about
Mr. Speaker, I want the
where Joe Rogan was, okay? I need you to see this. Wait, where did it go? Did I not like it? I thought I did. Hold on. Wait, what? Did I not like it? God damn it. Wait, hold on. Phineas reposted it, so maybe I can find it through there. Friend of the show, Phineas, reposted it.
Said that he
This is back when I was a Joe Rogan head as well.
wanted to build a wall, but I didn't know that he said that he wanted to get rid of
Here's Joe Rogan and Sam Harris, two people who I disagree with vehemently now, talking about Donald Trump.
the illegal aliens.
Round them up. Gonna round them up.
And do what with them? That's
Send them back to their country.
Oh, that is so crazy. That's such a crazy idea, and it's so brutal. The idea that, I mean, it's a subhuman thing. The only reason why people would come to America is because they felt like it would make their life better. So people take a big risk. There's not an easy way to do it if you're poor, and you don't have any qualifications for any unusual job. I mean, and you're trying to get across to Mexico. But everybody who does it because they want to improve their life. You know, and the idea that one group of people shouldn't be able to do it and one group should, just because they were born on the right side of some strange line that is only a couple hundred years old.
But the climate change thing is also insane and dangerous.
Well, he was a birther.
Right, yeah, right.
He was one of the original birthers. He was saying that Obama's birth certificate he was born in Kenya, right? Wasn't he one of those guys?
Oh, yeah, he was
I would love
self-funding that for a while, yeah.
I would love it if he got into office and just said, listen, folks, I am not.
Like, the rest of it is just like him being silly, but like this is Joe Rogan in 2016 and his approach to immigration right here, like specifically talking about undocumented migrants right here,
do it if you're
is my understanding of the reality. Okay? Because it is the reality. No one is coming into America with like impure intentions. Okay? Especially not 20 million people. The assumption that 20 million undocumented migrants, if there are 20 million of them on U.S. soil, operate with a hive mind, right? Operate with a hive mind to begin with is insane. Like dudes from Honduras, Guatemala, Cuba, Venezuela, the Congo, China, all around the world, right? People come into the United States of America from all around the world. The notion that like an evil act of a singular undocumented migrant is actually reflective of the 20 million population is psychotic, especially when they are from virtually every different demographic, ethnicity, creed, background, race, educational attainment. Like this is not one blob, right? That's number one. Number two, the notion that they come here specifically to do crimes or to ruin American society is also ridiculous. Like, these are just normal people, man. They're normal people just like you and me, right? And they want the same exact things. They want a roof over their heads. They want a better future for themselves and their kids. They want to have a regular job, you know? So the idea that they're coming here to do crimes and like undermine American culture is completely ridiculous. It's so silly. I don't understand it. So coming through the legal process, great question. Some of the people that are being deported are actually coming in through the legal process, just so you know. Because the difference between an undocumented migrant and a documented migrant is just paperwork. Okay? And as far as the undocumented migrants that have come in, okay, the reason why they have come in through criminal means, which is not a severe violation at all, right? You're passing, as Joe Rogan correctly points out, an imaginary boundary that we set up like 100 years ago. It didn't even exist, right? It's just paperwork. You are so pathetically virtuous. It's insane. First of all, I don't understand why virtue is considered a vice in this regard, okay? You are just saying that you agree that I have the morally correct position. That is not like a pejorative. You can't say, man, I hate how pathetically virtuous you are. What has happened to American society? What has happened to people? What do you mean pathetically virtuous? It's like that tweet. never commit the sin of empathy. Like, what is happening? What do you mean, the sin of empathy? National security doesn't matter? Brother, I have already described illegal immigrant rights over American people's rights. Nice one, Hasan. Your rights begin and end on the boundaries of other people, okay? On other people's rights. There's no such thing as like illegal immigrants getting more rights than Americans. Like, that's ridiculous. That's not a real thing. And also, that should not be a real thing, okay? And in terms of just paperwork, it is the truth. Because the difference between an undocumented migrant, when people say just come in the legal way, that's what they're saying. File the paperwork. And I'm telling people that they do file the paperwork and they are still considered undocumented migrants because it's just about paperwork. That's the reason why J.D. Vance can go on the national stage and say Haitians with temporary protected status, proper paperwork, are undocumented migrants that are going to be deported from this country. They're not undocumented. They have the documentation. They quite literally have the proper paperwork, which means they went through the process. They got criminal background checks. The Department of Homeland Security, which is not a woke institution, has decided that these people are allowed into the country. Okay? That's number one. Number two, in terms of like national security conversations, national security fears in general, okay? This, again, goes back to a falsehood that I was addressing in the beginning. These people are not coming in here to do crimes. And as a matter of fact, the data also reflects that reality, right? Undocumented migrants are responsible for a smaller share of crimes per capita than natural-born U.S. citizens are. They do less crime in general. Define paperwork, be more specific. I don't know how much more specific I can be. Paperwork as in going through the proper channels and opening up the proper channels in the hands of the federal government, of course, opening up the proper channels for these undocumented migrants to be processed. America has created amnesty for undocumented migrants numerous times throughout its history. Ronald Reagan very famously did this as well. Okay? Define paperwork in this situation would be whichever the proper paperwork is for processing undocumented migrants and making them documented migrants. For the record, a big part of the reason why there are undocumented migrants to begin with, like the people that just come in, right, without the proper paperwork, is because the government doesn't want there to be enough paperwork readily available, enough processing readily available. They just don't let in that many people in general. It is a very long and arduous process. Okay? That's it. That's the real reason. As someone in the chat pointed this out as well, as my God King Gaben has said, piracy is a service problem, right? And he's correct. Piracy is a service problem. The American government and its immigration processes are no different. Undocumented migration is directly born out of the fact that the federal government makes it like a 10-year to 15-year process for you to get properly cleared to get into the country. Okay? Now, there are, I have described the real reasons as to why the federal government has this approach, and that is because they want there to be an endless pool of undocumented laborers, people that have no legal means to fight back if they are over by their bosses, people who play a role in the American agribusiness, people who play an incredibly important role in the construction sector, that are a permanently refreshing pool of labor that will work because they're in much more desperate condition, that will work for pennies on the dollar, doing backbreaking labor that can be deported from this country on a moment's notice. If these people were all documented, then business owners wouldn't be able to abuse them as much. Business owners wouldn't be able to use them as a means of depressing the wages of the documented labor pool.